What is up, guys? It's been a while since I last made a video, but we are back, Baruch Hashem, and better than ever. Many people have been reaching out and asking why I haven't been making videos in a while. Well, here at Homebound, we've been making some serious upgrades. Now, I finally got a little studio set up and upgraded the Homebound logo to something more befitting of the current times that we're living in. But that's not why I've been too preoccupied to be making videos recently. What's really been taking up all of my time is my recent move into our new home. But you see, although moving can be a bit stressful and time-consuming, this particular move was a bit extraordinary. Now, although on this channel I usually don't talk too much about my personal life, I prefer to stay on topic, talking about Eretz Yisroel, the Geula, and of course, Hashem. But our recent move happens to encompass all of these topics. So with that being said, let me tell you just a little bit about what's been happening in my life over the past few months. And maybe some of you will be inspired to join us on our journey. So I have a video company called Jerusalem, naturally, and I constantly ask Hashem to send me jobs that are in the genre of Eretz Yisroel or spiritually based videos. And believe it or not, Hashem listens. Almost all the videos that I've ever worked on were for yeshivos, kollalim, organizations that are all doing very holy work. Now, one of these organizations happens to be the Land of Israel Network, run by two extremely holy individuals named Ari and Jeremy. And I urge everyone to go check out their work at thelandofisrael.com and their YouTube page. Now, they invited me down to their beautiful Arugot farm, deep in the hills of Judea, to meet with them and discuss business. Now, this is the area where some misinformed individuals refer to as the West Bank, or properly referred to as Judea and Samaria, Yehuda v'Shamron. The job would entail me having to drive from Beit Shemesh to their farm once, twice, or even 3 times a week. Now, I was skeptical to do this at first, because quite frankly, I was a bit nervous at the thought of having to drive to and from the oh-so-scary Judea and Samaria, aka the West Bank. But with that being said, I made the decision to drive down to the meeting and give this particular job opportunity a chance. Because after all, I kind of felt pathetic not taking a job because I was too scared to drive through my own homeland, Eretz Yisrael. After all, that's exactly what the Arabs want, and I wasn't going to let them have that. So I set out to the Arugot farm deep in the hills of Judea. And on that fateful day, my life was changed forever. As I drove through those beautiful hills, my mind started racing. I had so many questions. Why is there so much empty land not being used to build Jewish homes, while we're crammed like sardines in cities like Beit Shemesh and the like? Why are there so many Arabs living in this tiny strip that is the so-called State of Israel? Why haven't I ever been out here before? Why aren't hundreds of thousands of Jews flocking to this beautiful land to help conquer and settle it, just as the Torah commands us to do? Well, after a bunch of research, it turns out that the answer to all of these questions was pretty simple. A bunch of stupid lefty God-hating politicians who made it their life's mission to try and destroy all that is holy, and not nearly enough God-fearing Jews willing to do anything about it. But the good news is, there definitely are Jews who are doing something about it. Not enough, but there are. So after some deep contemplation and soul-searching, the decision was simple. We're joining them. And after spending a beautiful Shabbos on the Arugot farm in Judea, my wife was convinced. She wanted to take part in this great mission. And so it was decided. We were moving to Judea to help conquer and settle our God-given ancestral homeland, to take part in the Geula, and so that my children will grow up in a home where we don't just learn the Torah, but where we live the Torah. So the next big question was how? How does an individual, such as myself, find a piece of land to conquer and settle? See, I didn't want to move to an already established yeshuv. Although that's fantastic, it wouldn't really be helping the ultimate cause of Kivush Eretz Yisrael. So I called my good friend Yossi from a yeshuv called Meitzad, deep in Judea. Yossi does ATV tours in the area, and he knows quite a lot of the place. And if anyone wants a beautiful tour of Judea, I'll link his website in the description below. So Yossi, although he didn't actually think I was serious, tells me, I know a guy who might be able to help you. And he put me in touch with a holy man named Shlomo Chaim, who lived alone in a little house on top of a hill deep in Judea. So my wife and I drove over to Shlomo Chaim's house. We knocked on his door, and Baruch Hashem, he spoke English. And it turns out he was holding down the land, hoping for another family to soon come join him.
My name is Shlomo Chaim Black. I grew up in Meitzad, the village nearby. Baruch Hashem, from the 7th of October. Out here there were Arabs living out here, keeping the land in the Arab territory. And Baruch Hashem, from the 7th of October, they're out here. We had a siyata d'shmaya, they ran away. And now we're here, Baruch Hashem, to keep the land. There won't be no Arabs here. do being in Eretz Yisrael, to settle up a new place, Bezat Hashem. It'll be a holy shuv, the Jewish occupation. It's a kind of a step, Baruch Hashem, Bezat Hashem, to Mashiach and the Geula, that we will have a whole Umala Eretz Yisrael Hashem, and everyone who will live here will have a vision of working Hashem and doing the right things for Eretz Yisrael, that will have keeping the mitzvahs and Jewish mamlacha, Be'ez Hashem. And it's a lot of siyata d'shmaya that we got the zchus to be here. A lot of work, but Baruch Hashem, we hope to keep the land, and Bezat Hashem, we'll have a whole community. We have a mitzvah of getting back to Eretz Yisrael and building it, being in Eretz Yisrael. So you build, you put in concrete, build something, you live somewhere, you go. Another dial is you build another thing, you plant another plant, and that way Eretz Yisrael grows up and builds up.
And so we found exactly what we were looking for. A hilltop in Judea, in need of kivush. So the next step was by far the most complicated. How in the world do we get a house on a hilltop in the middle of Judea? Well, out here things are done the old-fashioned way. You build it from scratch. Now there were a few small issues. There was no water, no electric, no sewer pipes, and absolutely no infrastructure. But I wasn't going to let that get in the way, because after all, this is the Geula that we're dealing with. So I sold my house in Beit Shemesh to have some cash to work with, and mentally prepared myself for the holy journey ahead. And then we got to work. Now, while you enjoy some footage of the back-breaking labor that I've endured over the last 6 months of my life, I want to explain just a bit more as to why we did all of this. See, as the Rambam explains, the Geula will not be some out-of-this-world miraculous event. The only difference between now and the Geula will be that the Jewish people will have sovereignty, peace, and the freedom to study Torah and do mitzvos without oppression. So many Jews have been convinced that Mashiach will come all by itself through great miraculous events, and that there's nothing we can do about it other than pray and perform mitzvos. But this simply isn't true. The Geula is something that we create through our mental, spiritual, and yes, physical work. Of course, it's miraculous. The fact that the Jewish people survived the past 2,000 years of exile is an awesome miracle. The fact that millions of Jews have already returned to Eretz Yisroel is the greatest miracle we've ever seen. But we must still do our part to facilitate the rest of this miracle. We must return to Eretz Yisroel, conquer it, build it up, and fill it with Torah, mitzvos, and spirituality. If anyone would so much as read through Tanakh and do some basic Torah research on the connection between Klal Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, you would find that the two aren't just connected in every single way, but rather we are completely one. There is no Torah without Eretz Yisrael. There is no Klal Yisrael without Eretz Yisrael. And there certainly is no Geula without Eretz Yisrael. Religious Jews who are obsessed with Eretz Yisrael are not Zionists. They are simply lovers of Hashem, and are people who are willing to do whatever the Torah says, even when it's hard and inconvenient. Our nation and our mission was founded on this soil, and our job will only be complete on this soil. As we built our house in Judea, both in the sweltering heat of the desert sun and the frigid nights of the winter, I took immense pride knowing that I wasn't sitting around waiting for a better future, but I was playing a crucial part in creating the future of Klal Yisrael and in bringing the Geula. And so after about half a year of hard and stressful work, to say the least, we moved in. But trust me, our work is still just getting started. Because we're not just building a house, we're building a community and the future of Klal Yisrael. Now many people ask me about the hardships and risks involved. Schools, shuls, community. Well, we're going to build it all. Are we scared for our safety? Are we scared of terrorists? Well, we're only human. We have fears. But we have tzitzis on our garments, mezuzahs on our doors, and the work that we're performing is the holiest of holies. So I think it would be safe to say that we can trust in Hashem to protect us. The truth is, the greatest threat out here is actually our own people, particularly many evil politicians who want to rip down our houses and destroy Jewish settlements, and would rather see the Arabs take over our homeland rather than the Jewish people. But the truth is, that's exactly why we're doing this, and why more holy Jews need to join us. The only way to bring change, to build up Eretz Yisrael, and to create sovereignty in our own land is for us, the God-fearing Jewish people, to take a stand. Just a little more than 100 years ago, this land was desolate, and it was only built up by the Jews who were willing to take risks, put in the work, and build up this holy land. The majority of them weren't even Torah observant and didn't even do it for the name of Hashem. Yet, look at how much success they have had. See, Hashem loves Eretz Yisrael, and Hashem loves Klal Yisrael. And what Hashem loves most is when Klal Yisrael loves Eretz Yisrael. See, the biblical borders of Eretz Yisrael is actually very large. And what we call the state of Israel is actually just a very small portion of that. And even within the state of Israel, the Jewish people only occupy a small percentage. There is much work to be done. And for those Jews around the world, many living in an unhealthy state of extreme comfort and luxury, know that there are tens of thousands of Jews on this side of the world who have given up all comforts and put everything on the line to build up this land and to build the future of the Jewish people. Now, I'm not saying this particular task is for every Jew, but Eretz Yisrael certainly is. You don't need to come here and build houses and communities from scratch, but at least come and live in the places that others have already built up for the Jewish people. Beit Shemesh, Yerushalayim, Modi'in, Efrat, Netanya, and the list goes on and on. A lot of Jewish sweat and blood was put into building up this land in preparation for the Geula. So come take part in this miraculous return of the Jewish people to our homeland and help create the greatest Kiddush Hashem in all of human history. And if anyone would like to be part of the work that we're doing here, please reach out. You can email me at jerusafilm@gmail.com. And if anyone would like to donate to this mitzvah of building up Eretz Yisrael, we need money to continue to build up the yishuv and create infrastructure and to build new yishuvim. You can visit our website at homeboundisrael.com to donate or to contact us. Chazak ve'ematz. Be strong and courageous to glorify the great and holy name of Hashem. We'll see you next time.